Sup my dudes, Valk here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a bunch of things. This is all going to be kind of like advanced tips whenever it comes to team building and actually playing out a team. It doesn't really matter what team you have, you're going to want to be following this advice. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer video because I'm mashing up a bunch of things all in one because I'm trying to get done with all these guides and base mechanic stuff to talk about, because I want to move on to actually talking about characters and stuff like that. But there's been so many things I've been trying to cover and try to help you guys all in all, and this is just going to be another one. So I'm jumbling up a bunch of things all together, and they all kind of coincide with kind of team building and how you make a team, where you position your units in the team, skill economy, and stuff like that. That's what I'm going to be going over today. So first thing I want to get into is weakness breaking. Weakness breaking, it's very, very important. A lot of people don't really mess with it. A lot of people don't talk about it. But if you ever are curious, if you ever click, is it this? Yeah, this. You ever click combat types, you will see using physical attacks to trigger weakness break will deal physical damage and apply the bleed effect, dealing physical DOT, dealing fire DOT. This will trigger freeze and deal ice damage. It'll apply the shock effect, dealing lightning. It'll apply the wind shear effect, dealing wind DOT, etc., etc. You can see Quantum and Imaginary have really, really nice ones. Quantum and Imaginary are kind of like the dark and light of the game. Dark and light are always very, very strong. But the reason this is important is because it's important to know what who you're using to weakness break the enemy. And basically, if you weakness break to an advantageous state, like let's say, for example, I have Clara, March, and Seele all on the same team, right? Clara, March, and Seele all on the same team, and I'm deciding who I need the weakness break with. I can either go Clara to try to get the extra damage and the physical and the bleed DOT, or I can go Seele to go ahead and use Quantum, which is a better version of Freeze, Entanglement, better version of Freeze, and it will delay the enemy's next action once they're out of Entanglement, and it'll deal additional Quantum damage to the affected enemy at the start of next turn. And when the enemy is hit, the damage gets increased. Like Quantum's obviously a much better weakness break. So rather than trying to weakness break with basically Clara, if I can avoid it, instead of using Clara's skill to pop a weakness break, I might just use a normal attack with Clara to go ahead and try to hand the baton over to Seele and let Seele break it so I can get the Quantum weakness break rather than the physical weakness break or even the ice weakness break. So I can try to actually get a much more advantageous weakness break so I have much more damage put down on the enemy. Just small things like that. So next we're going to talk about skill point economy. I'm going to go into a match in a little bit because I also want to talk about team placement and why that's important. But before that, we need to get into normal attack focused characters and skill point economy. Sampo Koski is the absolute king of normal attack economy. What I mean is that due to his talent, Sampo's attacks, this includes his normal attacks, that have a 65% base chance to inflict wind shear for 3 turns. Enemies inflicted with wind shear will take wind DOT equal to 20% of his attack. It can stack up to 5 times. And his basic attack can apply it. Now his skill can also apply it, but you're really going to be focusing on his basic attack with Sampo, simply because skill point economy is a very big thing. Especially whenever I continue yesterday's talk about speed. Whenever you start increasing speed on certain characters, like Seele, like if Seele can already attack. You can do like 4 to 6 Seele attacks in a single turn, considering you have Bronya, are just 4 attacks naturally if you do the order correctly. You can burn a ton of skill points trying to get the extra damage out of the skill, because the skill is 143 and the normal is 70%. So if you're trying to churn out as much damage as possible, you might end up burning through 3 to 4 skill points in a single turn using Seele. You can burn through 5 if you have Bronya too, trying to churn out as much damage as possible, which is where we get into skill point economy and why it's important to have characters like Sampo Koski. Sampo is a normal attack focused character, so you can just do your basic attack and you can have a chance at applying his talent, which will apply DOT, which will trigger wind every now and then. And that's really, really good for shield breaking. Himiko's another one. Whenever you unlock Himiko's Trace, her first trace, she gets a burn effect that has a 50% chance of applying to her normal, so she turns into a good normal focused character. These characters are very important for team economy, or skill point economy. They're very important to consider as part of your team. You just want characters that can function good off of normals. Clara is another one, because Clara's skill Clara's skill basically does a ton of damage to people that are marked with Mark of Counter. In order for them to get Mark of Counter, they have to directly target Clara, and then Svrog will counter, and they'll have a Mark of Counter on them, at which point she can hit them for a ton of damage with the AoE. But most of the time with Clara, you're just going to be doing this and just hoping they hit you. So Clara is pretty good for skill point economy in that sense too. But then you have all these characters that want to use their skill inside my main team. There's lots of times whenever I'm really huffing fumes on skill points because my team doesn't have the best skill point economy. So that's another thing to consider. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to do Forgotten Hall of Memories. I'm going to do an easy one just to show you guys, kind of where you want to consider team placement. So now we're going to get into team placement. This is also another important one. So Clara, we already know Clara draws a ton of aggro due to her abilities and how she works. So we're going to put her here. And next, because we know that an AoE will hit Clara and any ally adjacent to Clara, we're going to put March because March has very high defense. March can apply shields. March is a good character, so we're just going to put her next to her. We could also put Natasha because Natasha has a self-heal once you get this Eidolon. Once you get some Eidolons on Natasha, she also has a self-heal, but we're going to put Natasha next just in case they target March instead. And then we're going to put our squishiest character at the very end, Seele, because then if they target March or target Clara, then there's no way that they can hit Seele due to it only hitting adjacent characters whenever they're doing typical AoEs. Now, there are AoEs that hit the entire team, but most AoEs are going to either hit Clara or they're going to hit March. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead, let's get into it. This should be pretty easy for us. I should be giga over-leveled for this. But I just want to kind of showcase exactly what I'm talking about whenever it comes down to team placement, team composition, and skill point economy. And we're going to try to trigger weakness break of these specific kinds. Seele's weakness break, we definitely want to try. So we're going to do this. We're going to pop weakness right away so we can get quantum weakness break rather than physical. That's going to allow us to deal extra damage to this initial wave to anybody that is weak to quantum. You can see we had a break there. So all we really have to do is hit them a single time, and they'll take increased damage from quantum. We get the reset. We can see these two have weakness to quantum, so we're going to go ahead and pop weakness break on you. This character's probably dead, so we're going to turn. We're going to pop, and we're going to use ult on this. Go ahead and see if we can one-shot, and if we one-shot, then we can go ahead and deal extra damage, because we can probably ignore them. They're going to take extra quantum damage once they get hit. They just got to get hit once like this, and they're probably dead now. So now we're going to pull the aggro over to Clara, and because of our team placement, Seele should be perfectly safe now, even by AoEs, because it should only hit Clara and March, depending. You can see, even now, yeah. We're perfectly fine. We're just going to do a normal attack with Clara to go ahead and generate one skill point. So we have a skill point coming up next whenever we want to go ahead and use Seele. We're just going to generate skill points right now because there's not really a whole lot we need to do. We're just going to shield, refresh Clara's shield so she stays aggro, and she's going to get disabled here. Oh, we got effect resistance because Clara is really fun. So here you can see exactly what I was talking about. The AoE only hit Clara, and it hit the adjacent ally, which was March. So we were just perfectly fine. We were just chilling. We're going to go ahead and pop Clara's ult so Clara can start countering. And you can see how we're keeping the aggro on top of Clara. So there's really no need. We're just going to normal here. And we can continue to generate resource economy by doing this. If we hit E here, we should go ahead and get the ult. So we can pop the ult, go ahead and deal some good damage. And we're just going to keep moving on. We have 2 skill points, so if we wanted to heal Clara here, we don't need to. But if we wanted to, we could, but we're just going to generate 1 skill point again because nobody really needs healing. We're going to go ahead and give this back to Clara, pass the baton back, keep the shield up. That way he keeps targeting Clara, drawing aggro. And you can see once again with the AoE, because of the position we put in Seele, she didn't get hit a single time. That's basically the video, guys. I just wanted to show you the importance of weakness breaking, the importance of using specific team compositions, and skill point economy. Something to keep in mind where you guys are making your teams, and something to consider. Characters that are basic around their normal attack or can function off their basic attack, they're really, really strong, and they're really good for skill point economy. Other than that, thank you guys all for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Any other guides you guys want help with, let me know, and I'll try to explain base mechanic for you guys so we can all catch up to the same page, and then I can get into character guides. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.